Nostalgia is a feeling that we all get. Well, from time to time at least. So, me and Viper here, we're going to take you on a journey. A journey through a time of nostalgia for us. We're talking about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty Black Ops. Let's get into the nostalgia trip. This is the game that spawned the hate lobbies. Remember back in the day, sitting in the lobby between matches and just hearing everybody yelling the most foul obscenities at each other in these lobbies?
You can think of just about any word in those lobbies. That's why people often say that people today couldn't handle the criticism of those lobbies, because, man, if you're offended by just one or two words, you go into a Modern Warfare 2 lobby, and those 10 people in that lobby will let you know what they think.
You can take it further than any word. I'd say think of any combination of offensive words at all. It'll be there, up to 50 words long.
I couldn't agree more.
Those lobbies are the Wild West, man.
But we got through them.
And, we made some pretty good friendships. Not with random people online. We were smarter than that. Although, I actually have a story about those lobbies. When I was a kid, there was some guy that I was talking to on one of them, and he asked me what other games I liked, and I was like, oh, I like Ninja Gaiden, and I named a bunch of other action games, and he's like, oh man, you like some pretty violent games for a chick. Because this is before my voice had changed. And I was like, what? But I'm a guy. The guy just pieced out right away. Oh, but we solidified friendships back in those days. We had a group of 4 of us. It was me and Brandon here, as well as a few other people that we'll play with back in the day. And we would go into the 4-man squad mode. Do you remember what it was called?
Team Tactical?
Team Tactical, that's it. Yeah, we would go into Team Tactical and just mop up those lobbies.
Yeah, I think we didn't lose a game for like 2 weeks.
Oh, it was
every
insane.
single game we played, we just won.
It was crazy doing the S&D, capture the flag. I think it had a Team Tactical Team Deathmatch mode, didn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Domination. Don't forget Domination.
Yeah, the small scale domination, man. That was just.
That one was a little weak, just because
so
the
few
maps
people.
the maps were kind of tailored towards the 12-ish.
Yeah, 6 people per team. Yeah, you basically had to have one person or 2 people guarding your main flag, and then 2 people trying to fight for the middle one. But man, that was a fun game mode, and even the single player in the game was incredible. Like,
there's Call of Duty. That was really the golden age of the Call of Duty campaigns. You can say what you want about the later campaigns nowadays, but the Modern Warfare 2 with like Shepard's betrayal towards the end.
Oh, I'm
spoilers if you haven't played the game after like 15 years, 16.
Yeah,
it's been.
Really. And of course, I remember the mission. This is the mission that was in the demo, where the one, the snowy one, where you
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger, that's right. Yeah, you climbed up the ice, and then the snowmobile chase at the end. I love that thing, man.
It was so different to what we were used to seeing with games.
Oh, it was so cinematic. Like,
you also think that Modern Warfare 2 was right on the cusp of when the graphics engines were starting to change. And at E3, when we got that trailer of him climbing up the Snowmelt Pass, and it's a whirling blizzard, and he's just got this little heartbeat sensor.
Oh man, people were freaking out.
Honestly, as a person who loves like stealth games and stealth missions, the Cliffhanger is definitely one of the greatest stealth missions I've ever played.
Oh yeah, like going through the blizzard, like you said, with the heartbeat sensor. taking
Mm.
out the guys as you're going through slowly. It's it's just great.
And let's not forget about the early days when the game wasn't at its best, when the many glitches and bugs and overpowered things run free. Like
Javelin.
Stinger missile, suicide bomber.
The 1887's Kimbo.
One man army noob tubes.
But they stuck with the game. The devs, they patched things, they changed it up, and
And the thing is that there were so many things in that game that were overpowered that it kind of didn't matter.
exactly.
Like it was one of those really nice balances where even as the game went on towards the end of its life, I think a lot of people realized that like why balance one particular thing? Why nerf it into the ground when you have like 30 other things that are just as powerful?
Exactly.
It was a good balance.
It was a good balance. Yeah, the best way to have a balance is make everything overpowered.
Exactly. I wholeheartedly agree. I I do remember the early days when I briefly mentioned there was this weird glitch with one at my army and Stinger missiles where you could like lock on to something and switch to one man army and switch back. But the moment you switch back, you explode it. So people would do this setup and then run into a crowd of people and just suicide bomb, and you get like 3 or 4 kills out of it.
Yeah.
And I remember that wrecked lobbies for like 2 weeks. You had nothing but people doing this.
Yep.
But was it fun?
Oh, absolutely.
It was.
And you know what else Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 really did? This started back with COD 4 and with World at War, but I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was what really elevated the gameplay commentary YouTube channels back in the day.
100%.
Like the OG channels like Hutch and C-Nanners making...
Hutch, Nanners, X Jaws.
Yep.
Like White Boy, 7th Street, Woody's Gamer Tag.
Yeah, the end.
You could, yeah, the end.
All these guys.
Only use me Blade.
Oh, I used to be obsessed with him. I
Like,
even made an alt account.
You could throw hundreds of names out there and the list would keep growing.
Yeah, and you would recognize every single one of them. That's like
because
back in the machinima days.
yeah, it shaped the foundation of not only Call of Duty, but also YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. And now you have people doing what we're doing now, making lists and talking about it.
I think there is one thing that I find a lot of people overlooked with Modern Warfare 2, and that is the Spec Ops mode.
Oh, the Spec Ops mode was incredible. And so difficult on the higher difficulties.
I actually went back recently and was playing through them myself.
Yeah?
And they're just as difficult.
Oh, big time.
They haven't, it's not my like master gamer skill that through my years of experience of playing games that suddenly some of the missions definitely got easier.
Yeah.
But no, like they did a right level of difficulty. There's enough challenge in there.
Right.
It feels really rewarding when you get those 3 stars on that mission.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And
just sorry. Go.
Oh, yes. But actually, you go ahead. I was about to transition.
I want to just say that you just bare bones lay it out. Campaign, 10 out of 10. Spec Ops, 10 out of 10. The maps of the game are phenomenal.
Great maps.
The guns are legendary in that game. Everyone remembers the 1887s.
Yep.
And the ACR, the UMP.
The intervention.
The intervention. How could I forget the intervention?
Well, 1v1 me on Rust with interventions only, quickscopes.
The ACOG Barrett 50 cal that people can run around with.
Yeah.
The A12 with like rapid fire.
Yeah, climbing up on the roof of high rise with an intervention or with a Beretta.
Getting the like 4 times Collateral at the start of High Rise
Oh
with
yeah.
a thermal scope
Yeah.
from across the map at the start of the
Oh,
round.
big time. And all the cross the map throwing knife kills.
That spawned the throwing knife kills
Yep.
to the next set of games. It really it's really tough to say that Modern Warfare 2 was the pinnacle of first person shooters.
If it wasn't, it was close.
It was
It was
real
close.
close.
I mean, of course, there have been massive improvements made in graphics and in like the flow of the game, but nothing will beat just sitting there, laying down at the end of a hallway in terminal, and just mowing down the enemy team as they're exiting the plane or running out of their spawn.
I always say this about, especially games nowadays, is that you can hide a good game in with bad graphics, but you can't hide a bad game with good graphics.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, kind of piggybacking off of Modern Warfare 2, we have your entry on your Call of Duty entry for the list.
It's my Call of Duty entry. This was a toss up because it's really kind of a golden age, like I said, of Call of Duty, where I could have went for the one before Modern Warfare 2, but I chose to go with the one after Modern Warfare 2, and that's Call of Duty Black Ops 1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, let's talk about the story. The story ended up, what, 15, 16 years later, and we still are getting the Black Ops storyline going.
Yeah. And don't forget that the Black Ops storyline carried on from World at War story. Like
exactly, like it's
Treyarch knows how to storyboard a series.
It's unbelievable. If we go down storylines, some of the massive like cinematic, almost movie like missions.
Yeah, the torture mission with the CIA, like when you were what were you like crushing the guy's fingers, like pulling their teeth out or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Or like I remember punching them with like the glass wrapped fist at the start of that mission.
Like even when the main menu screen.
Yeah, you could hit R2 and L2 to wiggle free of the chair.
A completely interactive main menu screen, which was not a thing at the time.
It was unheard. What other games have done that since?
I think there's a couple. It's very few. There's a couple, but I think it's very minimal. But just the fact that like you could break out of that chair and there's a terminal that you can go to in the other side of the room and play Zord.
Oh yeah, that game was. Like, I never got very far. I'm not gonna lie. Just put a text-based adventure in the game for no reason.
Just a casual text-based adventure.
And don't forget Dead Ops Arcade.
Of course, Dead Ops Arcade. Even I can't talk about it with, can't talk about Black Ops with it. This zombies.
Oh, the zombies were incredible, and then later on they redid all of the original zombie maps from World at War.
And we got the DLCs, and it took this whole like Easter egg thing.
Yes.
And they made a story out of the Easter eggs.
Yeah, it was incredible, ending on the moon.
And then it was like, well, damn, like, if this map had this Easter egg, and it revealed all the story about, like, Dempsey and, what was his name, Rick Toffin.
I'll be honest, I don't remember their names. There was a Japanese guy.
Yeah, he's the only one I don't remember the name of.
Wow. I'm going to look it up.
People are going to be really upset in the comments. Like, I already even know my favorite character. It's just... It goes back to they really don't
Masaki.
make them like this. Was it?
Takeo Masaki.
Yeah. It's... Yeah, like, you could take those Black Ops 1 maps and the DLC, the one on the space station and all that.
Yeah, moon and yeah. Oh, I remember running around Kino Durant Toten, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that was the theater one, right?
Keenan der Toten. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
with
Keener
the.
der Toten, yeah.
Yeah.
Starting off there. And remember, you shoot a zombie 4 times, and then you knife it. But first you let it tear off all the boards. Gotta maximize that money.
Yep, you gotta repair the boards, then you get max money.
Exactly.
What about 5-on-1? You're playing as John F. Kennedy.
Man, me and one of my friends used to troll people so hard on that map. We would go into the online mode, and we would go into the elevator, and as soon as they were about to get to the doors, we would close it on them and just leave them upstairs. Oh my god, and then they would just be screaming into the mic.
You could take all those zombie maps from that game and make a whole different game. They could have made an extra $60 and people would have paid it.
Oh, they were just that good.
Yeah.
And you know, that's not even without talking about the multiplayer, what they did with the remember how you could save your match replays in that too?
Yeah, this was the first game in the Call of Duty series where you could have your own avatar. You could have your own I guess Modern Warfare 2 did the profile barriers, but
yeah, but you could customize your emblem in it.
Just about anything.
Yeah,
all you had to do was this weird monetary system, and suddenly it was like, oh, you want this attachment? Just pay for it.
But it was balanced really well because this was before the days of microtransactions.
Yeah, because now you probably pay like $5 and you get the attachment you want.
Yeah, exactly. Well, either that or you have to grind the game for 300 hours to get the currency.
Exactly.
Looking at UEA.
But if you yeah, you're right. You take zombies, you take the campaign. Let's put that aside. There's still a huge chunk of the game that we haven't even talked about.
Yeah, the multiplayer
was insane. Don't forget, it was followed by an addition of party modes, like gun game.
Yeah, gun game, sticks and stones.
Sticks and stones that nobody played. Gun game.
Well, gun game is arms race. Oh well, arms race is Counter-Strike. Gun game is Call of Duty.
One in the chamber.
I forgot about one in the chamber. Oh my god, that was an amazing game mode.
One in the chamber, can't forget about that one. Sticks and stones, one in the chamber, gun game. What was the fourth one?
I think it was only 3.
Was it?
I think so.
I feel like there was a fourth, but regardless. So you had all those game modes. You had this kind of offline thing where you go in and you had an offline profile. And you could level up that profile. And then you could try out different types of guns and attachment combinations. I remember I used to do this just when I was bored. You go in, play a couple games on the birth of Nuke.
Oh.
Nuketown.
I am not a fan of Nuke, I'll be honest. Oh, Nuketown, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I just looked it up. Sharpshooter.
Yep, that was the other one.
Yeah. With a randomly selected starting weapon.
Yeah, you had the birthplace in Nuketown, and I agree.
They're still remaking Nuketown in the new games. It's awful.
They probably didn't need to. It's hard because Nuketown came right after Rust.
Yeah, they needed that 1v1 map. The reason I didn't like Nuketown is I thought it was too segmented for that 1v1 mode because you had the 2 houses that people could hide in and the fences at the back. That's what was so good about Rust is there was really nowhere to hide.
I always thought that Nuketown was a 3v3 map at heart.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it was fun. It was just one of those game modes. The problem with Nuketown was that if it came up in the rotation, people would pick it over
and over
and over and over again.
Well, I mean, that's why they eventually patched the game that I think you couldn't pick the same map more than, 2 or 3 times in a row?
Yeah, I may have only been once. You may have been able to play it, vote for it again, and then
I
it
think
would be in
so.
the rotation for a while.
Yeah, well, because they did eventually introduce the Nuketown 24/7
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
playlist.
And that was always populated.
Oh,
Like,
always.
yeah, and there's a lot of similarities to like Modern Warfare 2 with the multiplayer. We got some very memorable guns and attachment combinations,
Oh yeah.
maps. Like, it's just, it really was the golden era of FPS games.
100 and the
Not only
dolphin dive. Don't forget about the
if you're,
dolphin dive.
of course, the Birth of the Dolphin Dive. You you could play the game as by yourself, play through the single player, plenty of content. Play through the zombies if you like solo zombies, plenty of content there. But if you're a multiplayer guy, you have a huge, extensive multiplayer that you can always go to.
So many playlists.
So many. But that's the magical thing is that World at War, Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops 1, all three had this content. And I don't think we'll ever see it replicated again.
Well, no, because if you try to make a game with 3 separate games in it, they're going to be DLCs and it's going to be behind paywalls, which sucks. But it's just the way the industry is going now.
Yeah, it's very much less about what the gamers want, what your customers want, and it's how much money can we get out of this product, right?
Hey, you gotta fill Daddy's bank account.
It became so much more than worrying about putting out a good game versus is this game going to do well monetarily? And if it doesn't do well monetarily, how can we make it do well by throwing in $20 DLC here and there? Oh, you want to pay a $5 DLC for a weapon skin that nobody cares about? Activision?
But, and I mean, if you want to talk about trying to make something and only supporting it once it makes money, we can talk about the PlayStation Vita all day long, but that's a different video in of itself.
That's a different video. Needs to say you have Matman, of course, with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Yes.
You have me, Viper, with Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Did we miss anything?
I mean, I think we pretty much covered those games. I mean, of course, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was a spectacular game in of itself. The only reason that game isn't on this list for us is we were just a little bit too young when that one came out to really get it and appreciate it fully with the online aspects, especially with the consoles.
Yeah, so, when I upgraded my console because I was briefly on an Xbox tear and I was playing Halo 3.
Right.
So I missed Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah.
But when I got my PS3, picked up Modern Warfare 2 and World at War.
Of course.
And everything changed. Everything changed.
Everything changed. The Call of Duty Nation attacked. Thank you for tuning into Nostalgia Trip. We had a lot of fun recording that and just talking. It was originally recorded as part of our list feature on Nostalgia, but we talked for so long about Call of Duty we thought, hey, let's make this into its own video. So if you enjoyed listening to us talk about nostalgia, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and let us know what games you're nostalgic for. Maybe we'll talk about them too.